Hi, welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brown and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines. And as we do it every time this week, we are going to talk about the NRL round, which is coming up, round one coming up, gentlemen. How are you tonight? I'll start with you.
Pumped and excited, Steve. Oh yeah, I can't wait.
I'm a little bit worried about looking at Tom at the moment.
I can't.
Tom, how are you?
It's not raining anymore. Oh, okay.
No,
I've had these on for like 2 weeks.
I can imagine.
Anyway, I'm good
Why your hairlines are
and excited.
You've been wearing those.
Yes.
You excited?
I am,
It
yes.
has been a very difficult couple of weeks down up here, down here, over here,
Wherever we are.
Yeah. We are flooded in at the moment. We could be doing this. We didn't realise that up until a couple of days ago that we actually now had waterfront views for our homes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of water around.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but we're here to talk about the NRL, which is starting this week.
You bet. Tomorrow.
Are you excited? It's starting tomorrow. Are you excited, Janelle?
Absolutely. I know Janelle is. She's already posted how excited she is.
Janelle, you're excited.
She is
that's
excited.
cool.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Dear. Well, here we go. We are going to start talking about the NRL. And like I said, there's a few things I want to talk about. There's no games really that have been played to talk about. We could talk about the trials, but really the trials are...
Trials are trials.
Don't mean an awful lot.
Unless you're a Parramatta supporter.
Although I do have to say one thing.
Yeah?
Tom actually, after the first round of trials, rudely sent me a message.
Oh,
and
did he?
said, yes, he did. And said, can a team who's lost both trials actually win the grand final?
Did I say that?
You did. And you know, I
'Cause
know
we
you're
lost.
assuming that we're going to lose to St George in the Charity Shield. And the answer is I don't know. But the Roosters also lost both trials. So
Well, I mean, but I didn't care because we had a third grade side in the first game and a second grade side in the second
having
game.
a dig at me. Is
So
that
the-
right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as long as we got that right, then we're okay.
For sure.
Can Souths win the comp if they lose both their trials?
Hey,
Because
listen,
he
we're
doesn't care.
actually advertising app here at the moment. Should we claim for sponsorship?
Absolutely.
Or should we just ignore it? Because
Or will
we
APS
should reach a copyright?
will APS call us and sue us? They should be happy for the free publicity.
Yeah, come on, bring the football back on the TV.
Yeah.
Okay, so gentlemen, we're here to talk about the NRL. So thank you all for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Hope you all enjoy the show this week and this year. And please stay with us as, trust me, it gets better. Okay.
Does it?
I'm not so convinced.
Okay,
right.
so we're going to talk about a few things. Gentlemen, have you got your top 8?
Do.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I believe you've put them in order.
I have.
Minor premiers
You
to
don't.
8th spot.
You don't do that, do you?
I haven't, but you know what? I'm probably pretty close to where I think it's going to be anyway. So, Tom, let's start with you.
Okay.
Your top 8 from minor premiers to 8th spot.
I've got the Panthers first,
Okay.
the Roosters,
Okay.
the Eels, and the Storm.
Okay.
That's my top 4. Then I've got the Seagulls, the Sharks, the Rabbitohs, and I couldn't pick between the Titans and the Raiders. And I'm only going on trial form because they had a fair sprinkling of first grade players. So not sure about that
So, curious, why have you got Rabbitohs so far down?
because I just think that they're not going to do so well this year.
Okay. All right.
That's my opinion.
Proved wrong.
That could be.
Brian, what
Well,
are your...
I did my usual, you see. So I went through this. So I have a scientific method to this, just in case anyone's interested. All right.
No.
So what I do is for the first 5 rounds. For the first 5 rounds, yeah.
You
For
do-
the
you
first
do
5
A
rounds,
predictor.
yeah. I go to the ladder predictor and I put in whoever finished higher on the ladder,
Right.
and then from rounds 5 to 15, so the next 10 rounds, I go whoever's higher on the ladder at that time.
Boy, you actually put effort into this.
Yeah.
don't you?
Then for the last bit, because you know the season's the season, so the last so that's 15 rounds. So for the last 10 rounds, I go about the home teams. So usually pick about the home teams.
You actually work, right?
Yeah, I do this in my spare
So
time.
is the show finishing now?
So
Yeah, pretty much.
listen,
Okay.
listen,
Yes, keep going.
Get on with it.
Listen to Mr. Boring.
Get on with it.
You just go randomly. All right,
Let's
so
go.
I've got Panthers out in front.
Okay.
Storm Manly.
Storm Manly. Okay.
Oh, so you couldn't pick Storm Manly.
Well, it was they were.
Or are they merging? Are they merging?
Live my dead body. 42 points apiece. Sunshine. I don't know how because I don't think the Rabbits are actually going to finish in the 8. But I picked them. But according to my system,
At least Tom got him at 7th spot.
according to my system, they're in 4th. Then there's a gap. Eels, Titans, Roosters, the Warriors, Knights. So the Warriors and Knights on equal points. Sharks, Raiders, Dragons, and
So do you have the Roosters in your 8?
He's
Yeah,
7th.
yeah.
Same place as I put you.
but just in saying that, I actually think it'll probably be reversed. I think the Roosters will probably finish 4th, and the Rabbitohs, if they make it, will finish 7th or 8th. And
We don't need to know about the bottom 8.
the lowly. Why not? Oh, okay,
We're
just
getting
the,
to-
just the
okay,
top
we'll
8.
get to
All
that.
right.
Well, we're going to do the wooden spoon in a minute.
All right.
So,
Yep.
so would you like my top 8?
Yes.
Would you
Yes.
like actually the real top 8? What exactly?
No, we'll
going
just
down?
take yours.
Yeah.
So mine are Premier South Sydney.
See, we already know he's having us on.
Predictable. Yes.
And I'm going to tell you that's only because it's the first team I actually put down. Because while you may have taken 3 months to work this out, I took about 10 seconds.
Yeah, we can tell already.
Yeah.
Okay. Roosters, Penrith, Melbourne, Manly.
Oh, Manly are falling, but Souths have risen. Yep. Okay.
Well, no, South's got further than Manly yet last year, so I don't know what you're talking about. Cronulla, Eels, and St George.
You haven't put Panthers in there, have you?
Yeah, third. South, Roosters, Penrith.
Oh, okay. I missed Panthers. Yeah, okay. I was looking
Melbourne,
at Panthers.
Manly, Cronulla, Eels, St George. I think St George are on the rise. Barry, I'm with you. Who's your wooden spoon tip?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Cows.
Yeah, I've gone Cows.
I reckon Tigers.
I think it's a split hair between
I
them.
would be really disappointed for Tim Sheens to come back to the Tigers to finish worse than what they did last year.
Oh, they're a basket case. There's a struck match, I think, between Dogs, Cowboys, and Tigers. There is just nothing between them. They're 3 teams that are not going to do very well.
All right, so along those lines then, and please, if you do any betting, don't listen to us on top 8.
Scientific approach.
Yeah, so was mine. Do you think any coaches are going to be sacked this year?
Yes.
Who and how many games in?
I think Madge, and I think that he won't last 8 games.
Do you think Madge?
Yep. Tim Sheens is back there, and I think, like I said, I don't think that Madge has the full support of the board, but I think the Tigers have got a woeful start to the season.
Yep.
And I think that after about 8 games, they're going to be struggling, and they've got a super coach sitting there. Tim Sheens
isn't going to coach.
No, but he's going to see what's going on, and he's going to. I mean, the Tigers are well known for their. Madge is well known for being the disciplinarian. He's really tough. The players. He's had lots of fallouts with players. I just don't. I'm sorry, man. I think Madge. I don't want him to go, and I actually want the Tigers to do a little bit better. But I'd love for the Dogs to get the spoon again.
Okay.
That's just me.
Tom?
I've gone Todd Payton because I think that the Cowboys are going to do poorly. I think what have they done? They've lost Jake Clifford. They've bought Chad Townsend, who's a decent half, but I just think they've got more serious problems that they haven't overcome. I don't think they're actually a better team than they were last year. And they finished like 14th or something, didn't they, last year? So sadly, I think Todd Payton hasn't proven to be as good a coach as he seemed to be at the Warriors. That seems to be the case. So, I feel terrible for anybody to be sacked and for anybody to get the spoon, but I think that's the way it's looking for me.
But you know what? I think there are some who should stay as assistant coaches because they're very, very good at it.
Sure.
And the other one, the one I'm thinking for coming last or for being sacked is actually Barrett at the Dogs. Now, the one thing about the Dogs is that they've actually been able to put together a reasonably good team, but the start of the year is terrible. It really is. It's very, very difficult. So in the first 3 games, which are a little bit easier, they will have a lack of cohesion, I expect. And then they play the next 4 games are the top 4 from last year.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Now, that could mean they are sitting at 1-7.
Yep.
And
Good point.
along your lines, you've got Phil Gould sitting there,
Yep.
the other super coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Look.
So
I think Barrett's going to get a little bit more leeway this year in the early rounds than the other coaches are already established.
Well, you
So
know what?
imagine Todd had been there at least 1 or 2 years, more. Barrett was there last year, that's right.
Yeah.
But he's now got a new team essentially. So I'm not sure.
But he's got a mighty good team, and he's got better players coming in next year as well. And I think they'll worry that.
Yeah, but cohesion and you could see in the trials they had a lot of first grade players there, and they weren't very cohesive.
Actually, that interestingly enough, the whole thing was trial games don't matter. That's what we started with.
That's right. Yeah,
but you could see glimpses of good play in a lot of the teams, except for the Dogs, who scored one try early and then fell apart.
Yep.
They were terrible.
Yep.
The other team that was terrible during the trials was the Panthers. I don't believe they'll be terrible.
Roosters weren't great either, but we didn't have a lot of our players.
You had bits of good.
Melbourne weren't that good. South weren't that good. Roosters weren't that good.
Yeah, but Melbourne were missing. Their 1-6-9-7.
Yeah.
Like, come on, give them a little bit of slack.
Oh no, they weren't. You had Munster playing.
And I think
Munster's
all
suspended.
of this was accentuated this year because they televised the trials for the first time ever. So you're thinking, we're going to see some NRL. We're not seeing NRL. We're seeing
seeing
park
trials.
football basically, with a few good players playing to get their Ks up. I mean, I thought the Raiders looked pretty good. They blooded a lot of young players, but I think they had the basis of their main team most of the time. I thought their offloading was a feature that I had not seen from the Raiders before. I thought that was actually very good.
There's still something going on at the Raiders.
Oh, maybe so, but their trial form was very good.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I got a feel for Croker.
Yeah, but
Dropped to reserve. I mean, he's been such a great player for
sure.
them. I have no doubt he'll be back in the team. But to be able to have to drop someone like him.
Nah.
First round.
No, you don't. You're 12 months out with a knee injury. You come back through reserve grade.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
But the fact that he played in the trial and now he's being dumped.
Yeah, he wasn't very
doesn't
good in
look
the trials either, though.
No.
His defence was pretty average.
And maybe that's because he needs more time in reserve
That's right.
grade.
Give him some time to get back.
But I feel for him because he's been such a great player for that club.
Better than being shopped around.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like a couple of the others at the Raiders. Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, we talked last week last show about who you think is going to win the grand final, and you're still staying with the Roosters, I expect.
Look, there's a whole lot unknown with the Roosters, but to have lost all those players and finish fourth last year, fifth last year. That's got to mean something in terms of addition of new players, and I think Keary is probably the single most important addition to that team, just because what he brings to the whole organisation of the team. So I'm excited to see what they can do. Look, there's a lot of great teams around. I think Penrith will certainly be knocking on the door. I mean, the Eagles, I'm not sure. I mean, to be fair, you got to admit they ran off the back of Tommy last year. Yep. He's got to have at least as good a year as this year for them to move forward. That's my opinion.
You're entitled to be wrong.
That's right. I think unfortunately I don't think the Bunnies will be as good as they were last year for a lot of reasons.
I don't think they will be either.
I think Storm will still be up there, but I think that they are possibly a little diminished. Whereas I think the Roosters are the team that are significantly enhanced, and that's why I think they're a good chance.
I don't think there's a lot of credibility in saying because of what they did last year, that's going to be even better for them this year. Because when you think about it, you had the top four, and then the Roosters were 5 wins behind them.
5 wins?
About 10 points behind them. Yeah. So they were concerned. So the Roosters were doing really well at beating the lower clubs, but they weren't beating the ones above them. Now, they have lost the Morris twins, and they've lost a whole bunch of other players that were there last year and that held them all together. And so they're still coming in. Yeah, I agree, Keary's, but when you talk about coming back, the bigger player is Keary.
Yeah.
Because Teddy was there last year.
Their defence will be the same as what's been. Their defence generally has been good. But what's different is their attack was always stilted, and I think their attack will be significantly better.
You know what? You guys contradict yourselves all the time, and Tom, you just do it so frequently that I'm amazed.
Okay,
what's he talking about? Consistency. Players not. You don't want all these new players coming in. That's why Manly have not changed their team.
Yes.
And that's
And they'll
what
finish.
lost-
And they'll
we
probably
lost-
finish fourth.
We lost 0 players. No, because all those blokes that were their first year of first grade or second year of first grade are now a year older, a year wiser, have pushed to one game outside of the big dance.
Yep.
We'll go all the way.
No, you won't.
That's it. Full stop.
But I tell you what, you will do well because of that.
Absolutely.
See, if you look at Melbourne, they've lost players.
Yep.
Souths have lost players. The Roosters have lost players.
Yep.
All the big teams, Cronulla have picked up well.
We'll see how they gel.
You know,
But they have a
I
lot
think-
to improve on.
Yeah, and I think Parramatta will struggle because they've lost players. But yeah, I mean, Manly, I don't think Manly can win it. I still think they're 1 or 2 players short.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Where are we short?
Oh,
I think maybe a big front rower,
and I think
but
a really good
a
centre.
hooker. I think we're missing a hooker.
I think you are.
So far we're being predictable. We're picking our own teams. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm.
Yeah, well, he is.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
mean,
right.
your team's going to do well. My team's going to do well.
South will finish ahead of Manly this year. I can tell you
You're saying that right now on air before
On
the season
air,
starts.
Yes.
All
that.
right.
Before the season
Yes.
starts.
It's a pity you're not betting
And
then.
how will
You'd be
you-
losing money, Steve.
Where are you going to put this? Put your proverbial money where your mouth is,
I will
sunshine.
wear a Manly jersey at the last show of the season if South's finished behind Manly.
Oh
and you'll wear a
yeah.
South jersey.
Yeah.
And I've got
At
one
the-
that'll fit you.
at-
trust me.
I don't know whether no offense. I don't know whether I've got one that'll fit you.
Oh, how rude! So,
You can pin it to yourself. It's
what are you
okay.
saying?
I'm
So are you willing to
saying
take
I don't
that
even know if
bet?
I've got a jersey that fits me at the moment.
But are you chickening out?
No, absolutely not. You're on.
So
Done.
Fantastic.
Regular season.
regular season, not
Great.
semis. Whoever finishes on higher the other has to wear their jersey
Ooh.
for the last show.
Yeah,
You
for the
voted
whole
here.
show, not just put it on and take it
You
off.
watch. All of a sudden, he'll have a cold on the last week and won't turn up.
Yeah, that might happen.
We'll come
too.
around to his place,
Jeez.
Yeah.
COVID or not.
We're going to do the show while he's lying in bed.
We're willing to get COVID for this. Well, actually, I don't have to, but yeah.
If I'm
you can be
if
part
I'm
of-
wearing a South jersey, don't worry, I've got a tissue.
Hey, you can be part of this as well if you want.
I don't need to. This is going to
Because
be
you're-
entertaining
because
enough.
You're scared.
It's going to be it's going to be entertaining enough to see
Okay,
you
Dally
two.
M's, gentlemen. I think it's too early to pick Dally M's.
I
but
think Tom will back it up, do a double. That's it. End of story.
you'll go Teddy.
No, I think if the Roosters do as well as I hope they will, it'll have to be Keary
Yeah, the only person
It'll have to be Keary.
I see.
or Munster. Munster's the other person.
Yeah, I agree.
So you've gone Keary, you've gone Teddy. I'm going to go Latrell just because it keeps it in the family.
Well,
I mean,
no.
they-
I think if I was picking from outside of my team, I'd go Munster. I know that Melbourne have a lot of stars, but I think Munster's going to step up this year.
And I just want to say, by the way, Benji Marshall, great footballing mind.
Yep.
You got to say, he's
Yeah.
very, very good. Has predicted
Yep.
a Parramatta South Sydney Grand Final. I'm just going to leave
No
that
bias
there.
there. Jeez.
I'm just going to leave that there and let you do with that what
He
you
may
will.
have had a great mind. He's had a few head knocks.
I question the Parramatta part, but look,
That's not the part we're questioning.
As a commentator on one of the radio shows says when people make those kind of things, he says, stop drinking.
lucky I
man.
know.
All
Gentlemen, what game are you looking forward to this weekend? And you can't pick your teams. I know you're all looking forward to your own watching and so
All
am
right.
I. But what game are you most looking forward to that isn't
Go,
involving
Brian.
one of your teams?
Go, Brian. All right. I have been thinking about this, and I think there's. I'm not allowed to pick my team.
No.
There's a lot of teams that I want to see playing, but I think the only match outside of my team that interests me greatly is the Dogs Cowboys.
Why? Why Dogs Cowboys? I mean, considering you
I
picked
think
the
we're gonna
Cowboys to come last.
And the Dogs, and I want the Dogs to
you
finish
want the
last.
Dogs to come last. So
Oh, look, no, I'm curious. I mean, they're the two teams that are most
and you
under.
think Manly's going to finish on top of South? Honestly,
Well, listen, they're the two teams that are most under pressure. They're the two teams with the coaches that have the most to lose. They're also, despite what Tom says, the Cowboys have brought in 5 or 6 backs. They've moved their roster around. They're saying Tamalalo is going to play for the full 80 minutes. The Dogs are a brand new team. Matt Burton's playing 5'8". I think it could even. I know it's the first game of the season. It could nearly be make or break for some of these combinations, and I'm really keen to see how it goes.
yep.
There you go. That's my reasoning.
Okay, Tom, what are you going for this?
I think it's obvious. The first game of the season, the Manly Penrith game at Penrith, which would be interesting. No Cleary. I've actually tipped Manly, only because Cleary's not there. But I actually think that
That's the doom.
That's the doom.
Yeah.
Splinters has picked Manly.
I actually think that Manly might hit the ground running, but Panthers might struggle a little bit because I think that they rely too much. I mean, it's like if Tom's out, I'm not picking the Eagles, honestly.
Well, hang on. Penrith did pretty well without Cleary last year. Mind you, they've lost a few of those players at Hilton.
Round one. Look, I think it's interesting that Cleary, he may need the 3 weeks off, but they've picked the first 3 rounds. One is a danger game against Manly, but the other 2, I think they've got Knights and Tigers or something like that, which are very much winnable games without him. I think that's a clever thing to do, to give him that little
Extra.
bit delay, delayed entry.
Yeah,
Go on.
I'm going to say I agree with you. I think that's the game of the round, and that's because I'm so excited about the football coming back. That's the one I'm really looking forward to watching.
It's a good start.
You don't want to see the
Very good
superstar Tom tear the Panthers apart?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the game. But I've actually picked Penrith.
Ooh.
Don't follow me in the footy tipping competition.
You know, he's really bad. It's like even Tom has some kind of an idea.
Wow.
But I think the loss of Cleary will be fine. I think Penrith will.
Oh, jeez.
And you know what? Manly can't win a first round game.
They've got a really bad
They
record.
haven't done it in 100 years.
It's been 8 years since Manly have won a first round game.
Can I just change my tip?
And it was about 8 or 9 years before that they won a first
I
round
think
game.
I'm changing my tip.
We speak of that game, but I'm so disappointed Adam Reynolds isn't playing in the South game. I mean,
Sure.
Sure.
Well, it was all set up, wasn't it? It was all set up for that.
set up perfectly for it.
Yeah,
Round 6, isn't it?
round 9.
9 is the next
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
He'll feign an injury again, trust me.
We should talk about our tips though, Steve.
Should we?
Well, I think we should.
Okay, let's do that. We're
Hang on.
running out a little bit out of time, but okay.
So just so you know, I tipped footy from the NRL from the Sidelines page. Feel free to join up. More than happy to have you on board with your footy tips.
And I believe we are still looking for some people in the Supercoach as well.
We're looking for another 2 people for Supercoach. So feel free, join up there. Tom's too chicken, but he only knows the
I'm a
Roosters, so
rooster.
it doesn't matter.
Well, you could put the whole Roosters team. Oh no, they'd be over the cap. They couldn't.
Yeah.
So
So I've got to put up with.
Just not to put it
It's
out
like
there.
you think they'd get bored saying the same old things that are
Well,
just untrue.
you don't get bored telling the truth. So.
Yeah, but
Okay,
that would
come
be
on, we gotta do
that would be
this
nice
quickly.
if you could tell the truth occasionally, Steve.
You got to announce the game and we'll tell you who we think.
Okay. Penrith Manly. Tom?
Penrith. Sorry, Manly. Here it is. I was looking at my top 8. Sorry, Manly.
Manly.
Penrith. Canberra and Cronulla.
Cronulla.
I've gone Cronulla.
I'm going Raiders.
Ooh. Brave man. Okay. Broncos and Rabbitohs.
Bunnies.
Brian?
You're supposed to actually have tipped all this before.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to get it. My thing won't load.
Sorry, am I speaking too quickly for you? Have a look at mine.
No, but that doesn't tell me who I tipped. Bunnies, Broncos.
Really?
Yep.
Alright.
No, not really. I just don't want to pick the Rabbits. Yep.
Roosters and the Knights.
Yeah, Roosters.
Roosters are my what do you call it? My
Knockout.
My
team.
knockout. My knockout.
Storm
this
were
year.
my knockout team.
Yeah. Roosters will win this by a
Warriors
mile.
and Dragons.
Warriors.
Dragons.
Dragons for me. How can you pick Warriors?
Have you? I think they're on for something. I went the home team.
Alright. West Tigers and Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah, I've got Melbourne. Parramatta and Gold Coast.
Para.
I think this will be tougher than it looks. This will probably be one of the tougher games of the round, and I'm going to go Para. Gee, that's a horrible taste in my mouth.
I've gone Para, and they're actually my knockout too.
Really?
Ooh.
Wow. I think it's going to
You
be
get
closer
knocked
than
out
that.
straight away.
You will.
Hang on,
might
who did
change
you
now.
tip?
I tipped the Eels, but
Well,
it's
hang
a
on.
line ball.
Who did you? And you tipped Parramatta.
I don't have the confidence to use it as my knockout tip.
No,
So
neither do I.
what you're saying is I'm
It's
brave,
close.
you're not.
Chicken.
No.
Yeah, he's
Chicken, yeah. And North Queensland and Canterbury.
I'm going to go Cows because they're at home.
Yeah, I picked the Dogs, but not with any confidence.
No, I've got Dogs as well.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, this is going to bring us to the end of our show. Anything? Okay. What would you like to end the show with?
No, go ahead. I just don't want you to say what you're always saying.
Come on, it's a new year. I'll have to come up with something different to say.
Okay, come up with something different.
I'll do it for
Now,
next week.
now.
I can't think that fast. I can barely think about what I did yesterday, let alone doing something straight away. Tom, you want to end the show with anything?
All I got to say.
Here come the drowned chickens.
Here come the Goosters, the red, white, and Goosters. Round 1 tomorrow. Go for it.
Okay. Thank you for watching. This is NRL from the Sidelines. We nearly forgot who we were at the moment. This is NRL from the Sidelines with Tom, Brian, and Steve. We hope you enjoyed the show. And please join us all again next week. And these shows will now be weekly.
Yes.
Instead of skipping and all that. So we're now
Weekly
again. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
See ya.